Keep in mind that, as far as this ruling, this isn't an area where Apple was competing directly against other companies on a totally unfair playing field, right? Apple gets to advertise Apple Music to you. It doesn't have to pay a 30% fee to itself, whereas Spotify has to give up that huge portion of its margin every single month to Apple. So this is a really narrow case, but I think it was really necessary to begin to push back on some of these distortions in the market that were created by this iOS-Android duopoly.
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking about Walmart and Albertsons and all kinds of stores where you can go and there are store brands, right, that compete on the shelf with the name brands, and you can buy them for less. And it's kind of a similar thing. You could argue that, if you've only got that grocery store in your neighborhood, it kind of has the local equivalent of a monopoly. But the digital world is different, perhaps because it's so pervasive, perhaps because of the sorts of tie-ins that they can engineer to so many different products?
That's right. I mean, our entire lives are mediated through this phones. It controls, what TV do you watch? What music do you listen to? What books do you read? What games do you play? Where do you shop? Right? The list goes on and on. And, to your point, what if we lived in a world with only 2 stores? We would probably want to have some pretty strict antitrust rules, making sure that everybody got a fair shot to sell their wares.
Casey, I'm curious what your thoughts are about this game ecosystem, because, of course, payments from games are the most important piece of the App Store revenue, the biggest piece of App Store revenue. What do you think Apple's going to do there? Do you think they will take preemptive steps, or do you think it's going to all hinge on the Epic ruling?
If I had to guess, I would say they're going to wait for the outcome of that trial. I suppose that a settlement could be reached in the meantime. But, as you noted earlier, Julia, this is the bulk of the App Store revenue. It is the gaming revenue. So these changes that we've seen Apple make in recent days are sort of around the edges. But I think you can expect to see Apple still do everything it can to protect the lion's share of the revenue that's coming from the App Store. And that's going to mean waiting to see how these Epic cases around the world play out.
Yes, Casey, as I work to protect that bulk of the revenue, that is games, I wonder what you see Apple doing more broadly. Earlier John was talking about all these different businesses that Apple is in, and I'm very interested in the services business, the subscription business. Where do you see Apple having the most opportunity to grow? Because maybe it's not going to be the App Store anymore.
That's right. I mean, they have huge opportunities to grow if they can invent, right? Like in the near term, they're absolutely going to be investing more in the Apple Watch. I think they've discovered that health is the killer app for them. Also, let's keep in mind that the pandemic has led to a huge surge in sales for basic hardware like MacBooks, iMacs, tablets. iPhone obviously still room to grow there as well. But the real next frontier is, can they build a headset that we're all going to want to wear around all day? Can they build augmented reality glasses? Can they finally ship a car out of Cupertino? They've been working on it for a decade. So there's still any number of things Apple could do. It's the richest company in the world, which is what makes some of its sort of protectionist stances on its App Store, I think, so unpalatable to regulators.